This is a second stimulus check and stimulus package update for Tuesday, May 26th. Thanks for tuning in. This is LALATE. Hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. As always, like and subscribe to this channel and drop your comments below, and we may feature them in tomorrow's recording. And please click and hit that bell button on the front of this channel so you get alerts when a new video goes live. And we'll be answering your incredible 25 questions from yesterday's stimulus check and stimulus package update. But first, the news. And there's some really big news today. It came in two fronts. First, Mitch McConnell, and second, the European community. First, Mitch McConnell. As LA has been detailing, the HEROES Act, which, as you know, was passed by the House of Representatives, Democrats, was sent to the Senate. And upon receipt, Mitch McConnell, a Republican, said that the bill is dead on arrival. He said there's no way in hell it's ever going to get approved. The bill called for $1,200 stimulus check, second stimulus check to come to you for an additional extension of PUA benefits. Basically, you're getting $600 from the federal government into the month of July if you're still on PUA or unemployment benefits, but to extend that to January. Also $13 for hazard pay to be added on top of your normal hazard pay if you're in a hazardous environment. And additionally, loan forgiveness for certain student debts, on top of a moratorium on repaying student debt, loan debts, both principal and interest, into January 2021. It's currently into middle summer under the CARES Act. Mitch McConnell, when he received that, he says, no way, no how, this is going nowhere. But CNBC today reported that that seems to be a moving table, that it now thinks that Mitch McConnell and Republicans are likely to give you a second stimulus check. That item seems to be moving in a positive direction. Ellen is reporting, I think it was even yesterday, we said that we think that's going to get approved. There's no way that it would never get approved, and I'll tell you why, because 80% of the U.S. population of both parties has said, when polled, said you're entitled to a second stimulus check. The one issue that Mitch McConnell really is pushing against, and this is the update today, is still this $600 extension of PUA and unemployment benefits into January 2021. Last week, the senator said the next congressional bill will not extend the $600 per week sum the U.S. government added to what recipients normally get from these states. The extra federal benefits is set to expire at the end of July. CNBC is reporting today. That's what we have been reporting. The problem is that the unemployment rate stood at 14.7 in April. We don't know how bad it is. Steve Mnuchin, which I've detailed extensively on this channel, thinks it might be 25%. We're currently the second worst unemployment rate in the state in the world. The United States. Mitch McConnell says he wants additional economic news. I don't think you don't need additional economic news, but I do think what the Republicans are saying in the Senate is now a stimulus check is likely, an extension of PUA benefits is not. But what the Republicans have generally wanted is more liability insurance to businesses. You know, it's quite interesting. If you watch financial news, which I hope you do, today the New York Stock Exchange opened its doors in a limited capacity. And when they did, it was done the following. When you enter the New York Stock Exchange, you now have to sign a form that you waive liability to sue the NYSE from going on the floor in the event that you contract COVID-19. This is actually sort of consistent with what Mitch McConnell is talking about, and Senate Republicans. They want to ensure that businesses are not exposed to enormous liability of lawsuits, that if they reopen their doors, which Republicans want, that they are not subjecting themselves to huge liability exposure. And in some regards, that's a great point. Now, here's the other big news, and we're not holding these bombshells till later. We're front-loading them in today's video. ECB's vice president spoke out. Who is that? This is the European Central Bank. And this is important to you because the financial strength of other countries impacts your dollar. Their ability to stay solvent, to stay financially robust, impacts you. Everything from tourism, everything from buying U.S. products. When you see world economies in trouble, the stock market falls, consumer confidence falls, and it just snowballs in the United States. So what happened today? Luis de Guindos, who is the vice president of the Eurozone Central Bank, said that the issue of high debt levels needs to be put in perspective. He was asked about these enormous debt levels internationally now. Quote, at the end of the pandemic, for sure, there will be a higher public debt ratio, but the alternative of doing nothing is much worse. When asked about Italy, it would be far worse in terms of the crisis, and it would be much worse in terms of the recovery phase. So Italy's debt to GDP ratio has increased by about 20 percentage points and is now 156% of GDP, making Italy's debt one of the worst after Japan and Greece. But De Guido says, hey, that is better than doing nothing. Well, I will not put it that way. I will think that prior to the coronavirus, well, there were some countries with high public debt levels, like Italy. But I would think that the important issue to take into consideration, we now have to put in perspective the policy response. Fiscal policy is going to be key. As you know, the short term is here, and there's going to be pandemics and the crisis that we're all suffering. I think the national fiscal policy is going to be totally needed. But for now, he called for strong and powerful fiscal response on a pan-European level. Basically, to clarify and give you the cliff notes of what he's saying that, yes, we don't like a lot of debt, but debt is the better alternative than not providing debt and having countries default. Default is not where you want to go. And so, yes, increasing debt levels is a better issue. In the United States, we don't have that problem, but really the debate that's occurring from the second stimulus check and second stimulus package is the amount of debt the United States needs to take on to do it. LALATE proposes it's really not as bad an issue. The reason why is that the federal government can print more money and support the printing of more money by issuing bonds. The Fed has just started to issue bonds. It has never issued in 20 years. People want these bonds. You know why they want the bonds? Because they have great interest rates. People will buy the bonds. The federal government will make money on the bonds, and it will support their printing of greenbacks. So let's get to some more of the comments. Avi Z. Yeah, it's interesting how this all play out. Absolutely. Coca-Cola. I've been waiting on the PUA in Ohio for 2 weeks now. It's so unorganized, inconvenient. My business gets shut down, add insult to injury. I had to wait even longer for a mystery email to receive funds. Rubbish. I want to know what happens with you, Coca-Cola. Ohio is one of those hack states. Cruz Juan. Absolutely. And thank you for carrying in your kind words. Thank you, Cruz. Phil Morgan, you Google me and now you have a phone number for me. I would love to update you on something easier by phone. Absolutely, or drop me a DM on Twitter. If you don't follow us on Twitter, please do at LALATE. Miguel the Bronx, I'll be watching. Well, thank you. Ivan Dever, applied for the EIDL April 2nd. Credit was run April 27th. Received the $1,000 deposit. Now, 20 businesses later, no loan offer, no email, nothing. And maybe the SBA is holding on to the money to collect interest so that they can now make extra money for themselves. Not sure what's going on. Awful. Pat Tyson, great work. Keep up the updates. Well, thank you. Laura Alvarado, happy Memorial Day. Well, thank you. Hope yours was safe and wonderful. And AWZ says the same thing back. Lauren Lambert. I still understand how you cannot get PPP and PUA if the PPP is a loan and not a source of income. Very good said. So PPP means you have to get back to work. I mean, you're supposed to pay your employees, which includes you, to get back to work. PUA says that you are either not at work or in limited capacity. So if you're saying to PUA that you are not at work and PPP that you're saying you are at work, it's a contradiction. Shannon Desiree, why is it when you guys are out there, there's always a plane flying overhead? There was one right during this video. It is always during the PUA videos and the second stimulus check videos. I just don't know why. Miguel the Bronx, I applied for the EIDL loan and the grant and was offered $16,500. Was definitely not willing to decide. They pulled my credit. Love watching your videos. I will update you when I see my loan offer. However, I'm not holding my breath. This whole ordeal has been horrible. Take care, and thank you again for your super updates. Well, thank you, Polish Princess. Um, so, she has 10 employees, and she's not gotten her loan. I want to know what happens. So call SBA and update us. Babette loved it. Well, thank you. Mael Garmedo. Hey, everyone. What can I do if I still not receive my stimulus payment? Awful. If you have not received it, it's going to come by debit card in the next few weeks. You can go and check my debit, check my payment from the IRS, and you can track where it is. Miguel, the Bronx, New York City is point on far for unemployment is concerned. Very good. Lauren Alvarado, hey, LALATE, XBG dead one. Wow. So long-winded. Well, I'm sorry it's long-winded. The second stimulus check package is hundreds of pages long. If you want something that's 10 seconds long, then you're not getting a bill that's 10 sentences long. You're getting a bill that's in the 100 pages. If you want something in-depth and long-winded, then stay with this channel for more. Drop your comments by 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Wednesday, tomorrow, and we may feature them in tomorrow's recording. And as always, stay with LA for more.